It's teaser.
Hi, Wahgwan Family. This is your girl, Colette Alethia. Thank you so much for joining me here on the Roaring 30s YouTube channel. I always appreciate it every single time. So I have a very special guest here with me today. His name is Paul Antwi, and he is the founder and president of Pinnacle Heights Academy in Ghana. He is under 40 and he was able to build a private school there. And so today we're going to be talking about how he was able to manifest his dreams into reality. So again, without any further ado, here is Mr. Paul Antwi. Hi, and welcome back to my channel, the Roaring 30s YouTube channel. I'm so glad and so excited that you're here with me because I have a special guest, my friend, Mr. Paul Antwi. He is the founder of Pinnacle Heights Academy in Ghana. And you're probably wondering what makes a young man from Canada be so passionate about starting a program or a school in Ghana. And that's why he's here today. Mr. Paul Antwi, thank you so much for joining me here on the Roaring 30s YouTube channel.
Thank you, Colette, for having me. Really glad to be here.
Of course, and first, I just want to congratulate you and thank you so much for investing in our young people. Education is the key for a beautiful future, especially Ghana that's really beginning to thrive, and the world is taking notice, the potential in Ghana. So for you to really invest in the young people with a state-of-the-art school, congratulations to you. And I wish you much success in the future.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. As you said, Ghana is gaining prominence on the global stage, and it's high time that most people come to that understanding and look for ways in which they can make contributions to the country in particular and to the continent in general.
So let's get started. Everyone wants to know, who are you and what's your background?
Okay, so my name is Paul. I'm 37 years old, Paul Antwi. I'm 37 years old. I was born in Ghana, and my parents migrated to Canada from Ghana in the 1980s, and they sponsored me. So I arrived here on September 1st, 1993. So I was just about to turn 10. And I arrived here, so I've lived here, went to school here, got my first degree at U of T, got my master's degree, and I've worked primarily in the social services sector / education. So that's what I've been doing the last 13, 14 years, in addition to my contributions that I'm making back home in Ghana. I'm just in the process of just relocating back to Ghana by the end of this year, most likely, because I arrived in Canada on September 1st, 93. So I arrived back in Ghana September 1st this year. So that would be my, so this is basically my last season, so to speak, my last.
Wow, your last winter.
Yes, so I just defeated my last winter, so.
Yes, you made it. Congrats.
Yeah.
So tell us, when did you know you had a passion for education? When did that start brewing up in you?
You know, Colette, like most young Black males in the GTA, I lived a life of misguidance, like most young people that I knew or I associated with. So I never, in my teenage years, I never took education much seriously until my final year of high school and then transitioning to university. And once I came out of university, I started working, I started investing back home in Ghana. I began to identify what the issues were with our education system in Ghana. One of them being the lack of critical thinking in the schools, lack of resources, lack of infrastructure, lack of confidence building in the children. So I took it upon myself to say, no, I'm going to do something about it, because it's easy to just proffer criticism and say, oh, this, that, but it's very difficult to actually get up and say, I'm going to do something about it. So I'm going to bring in some reforms. So that's what I want to do. And thankfully, it's been a I've been successful at it. So I would say just being in Ghana, going to Ghana, seeing the disconnect between what education ought to be and what education is sort of compelled me to want to do something about it.
Take us back to the beginning stages of like when you started building Pinnacle Heights Academy.
So, well, you're taking me back. So, sometime around 2013, I was talking to a business partner who is, I should actually use a better term and say a brother. And I was like, I want to build this school. And first we need to get the land. So getting land in Ghana it's a whole different thing. It's another challenge in of its own, because when you buy the land, a lot of times you buy the land from this person, and then person B comes and says, no, this land actually belongs to me.
Oh.
So in my case, that's actually what happened. So I bought the land. I think I bought it for about 20,000. It was a big piece of land, 20,000 Canadian. And then after purchasing it, a couple of months later, there was a court ruling that my land actually, or the area that my land sits on, actually belongs to another individual. So then I have to find a way to go settle that individual also. And then, first you need to get the permits, getting the building permits, having an architect draw, getting the permits, finding the money continuously. It's a very strenuous process to even begin building, but once you get, but with like everything else, it's a matter of just getting started. Once we got started, the ceiling was less rough.
I know it must have been very discouraging for you though, to find out that someone else owned the land, then you have to settle them. And just when you think, because 2013, you were a young man, and so like to first like have the capital to go and purchase land, and then you have to find, the money again to like settle someone. You must have had a real strong conviction for Pinnacle Heights Academy. And so what were the signs for you during the building process or before you got started? What were the signs and convictions you had inside of you that to this day resonates with you?
So I believe, I always tell myself that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Nothing should stop in the way. Nothing should get in my way. I never want to say I can't, and I never want to say I won't. So those are sort of a little maxim I live by. Like if I want to do something, I will never say I can't. And if I have to do something, I'll never say I won't. So once I had it in my mind that, I've conceived this idea that I want to build this school and to this standard, not just any mom and pop school, but the standard I wanted. There was no turning it off. So whether the land I had to buy 3 times, 4 times, that the goal was already set. It's like my destiny was already in place for me. I could not deviate from it. I would not allow myself to deviate from it. It's something that I always, a lot of people call me now and say, oh, I want to do something in Ghana. And I tell them, first thing is you got to learn not to be discouraged. You know what I mean? Because the obstacles are many, and sometimes they're taller than you. But you got to have that conviction that you're never going to give in. You're never going to concede. You're going to stick with it, stick with the process, because the thing with process doesn't always look like progress. Sticking with something and doing it is not a linear trend. It doesn't mean it's always going like this. Sticking with the process means you start like this, take a couple of steps back, you roll back, you get yourself going. But I always encourage people, you got to stick with it, stick with the process. It's going to pan out. So I didn't want that initial episode to sort of deter me or to sort of disfigure the plans that I had. So I just said, you know what? It's part of the process. It's part of the process. These little bumps in the road, I just gotta keep it moving slowly. And
I would probably tell that. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, no, here we are.
No, and you know what? I would probably tell that person, you have to have a strong conviction. Like your goals have to be tied to like what you've always wanted to do, like your purpose.
Yeah.
because I've started many projects, but I wasn't passionate about it. So it's never really happened, you know?
Yeah.
But when it comes to, like, say for me, broadcasting or media, I kept circling back to it, no matter how far I went, you
Yeah.
know? So I
Yeah.
agree with you. And I think that, you know, just having that true passion, you'll be able to manifest those dreams. But people do have a difficult time in like manifesting the dream and like
Yes.
making it a reality.
No. People, I understand that you're going to come across bumps along the way. It's only natural. If you do not I always say if I don't face obstacles, it means my goals are not daring enough. You know, you have to be really borderline insane to say that I am going to come out of school in a developed country, take the money I have, continue investing to the tune of close to 800,000 US dollars into a project in a developing country. But then you have to believe in it so much so that anything anybody says to you is literally, it's like you're speaking to a rock, and you're just never gonna take in what you say. You might take a little advice here and there, you know, explain yourself here and there, but you are just so focused, you're so tuned in, and you have to be, right? Because if not, people and situations are gonna like dislodge you. So you have to be so tuned in, like believe in what it is that you're trying to achieve, and believe that once it all comes together, you're gonna have people wondering how you did it. You know, people are gonna be like, wow, how you must be insane. You got to be insane to sort of put yourself on this journey.
I feel like sometimes we equate people that write books. So people who achieve big things, we think those people are unattainable. But when you find someone in your community that has done that same thing, it really is mind-blowing, because you kind of feel like we're like, I don't want to use the word average, but you know, like everyone's doing the same hustle.
Yes.
So when you find someone doing something extraordinary and they're at arm's length, it is mind-blowing, and you want to attach yourself to that, because now you know that your dreams are not that far in reach. And you want to know how were they able to do that, you know?
Yeah. And it's true. Like I always looked at myself that I always tell myself, and I always tell people, you can have more than you were promised. And whenever I tell people that, what I mean by that is that, you know, there's this narrative that's been given to us, or this path that's been set for us, that, you know, finish school, get a job, buy a house, but finance a car, and, you know, retire at 65. And to me, from a very young age, I just had, I was repulsed by that very idea, like that very idea that the best times of my life, maybe being in my mid 20s to 45, 50, I must spend it continuously working, you know, and then retire at 65. What am I going to do with all that free time? Like, my knees will probably give up by then. If I want to enjoy my life, I want to enjoy it when I'm physically fit and capable of, right? So even from when I was like 13, and I was in grade 8, and my teacher at the time was talking about Alberta and working in the oil rigs, and you work 6 months, you're off 6 months. And I was intrigued by it. I went to talk to him afterwards, like, hey, Mr. Palmer, tell me more about this. And it all comes down to the fact that I never wanted to follow the same path that was that most people had treaded for me. I never wanted to, you know, get a job, and just I wanted to do something that I could look at myself like and be proud of. And not to say that those who opt for the path of finishing school, buying a house, not to discredit them or be critical, right? But just to say that we're all different. And if people truly want something extraordinary, it's within your reach. It's just a matter of deciding what you want to do, buckling down, and just going for it, and not being intimidated with none whatsoever.
For sure. And so would you mind telling us some of what was the toughest time through your journey, as it relates to like building Pinnacle?
I would say a lot of times the financing component, because up until now, we began construction, I believe, was February 2014. And up until now, so that makes it about 7 years. When I when I say we, I'm actually me. I've expended about close to 800,000 US dollars. So finding that money, working hard, sometimes I build up my savings, and in a week I have to go deplete it, go take all that money. So it's always the financing part of it. And then once that was done, it was because that's the physical infrastructure. And then it was the soft, the human resources, finding the right people. That's always difficult because you could have a beautiful building, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to produce the outcomes that you want. So finding teachers, doing a whole lot of interviews, um, head of academics, finding all those pieces, or and then sort of bringing everybody together to say this is the vision. And now what the challenge I'm actually currently facing right now is getting people to understand how big the vision actually is. Because you bring people on board and they say, yeah, we want to make this great. But then you tell them, no, yes, I understand what you might be accustomed to, but this is grand. This is not just a school. We want to be very involved in we want to be more of a social movement. We want to push the feminist agenda. We want to push the young boys to find their voice. We want to empower the young girls. So it's not just an education we are seeking to provide. We're seeking to have like a social movement. And when I say the feminism agenda, a lot of people are like, it's when
That
you use
women
that
should
effort, it's not
have
about.
access to equal education. Is that what you mean, or what do you mean
Yes,
by that?
that's what I mean, because a lot of people misconstrue what feminism is. And to me, being a black man who has historically been accustomed to being degraded and sort of being considered subpar, or being considered less than equal to that of a, let's say, a white man, it would be quite hypocritical or immoral for me to turn around and just say, no, we don't want women to have equal rights. No, I'm used to having a foot on my neck. So why would I want? And I know how discomforting that is. So why would I want uh, the opposite sex to feel the same thing? So my whole thing was, with this school, really push these agendas, not just teaching kids ABCs, but teaching them some of these social ills, some of these socioeconomic injustices that we find ourselves in, letting them know what's going on in America, let them know who Trayvon Martin is, let them, you know, things that the conventional schools do not teach you, so to speak.
I guess to kind of give a better expose your students to a sense of not globalization, but understanding what's happening in the world and how it affects them, and how they can also create change in the world as well. It's not just them being in Ghana, but that one person, that one student can make a change globally as well.
Exactly.
So I love that idea and the whole concept. And one thing I realized, which I'm going to share in the description box below, is their Instagram page talks about counseling and providing counseling opportunities for your students.
Yes.
Why did you think that was important to put in your school?
I think, private school systems in Ghana, there's a lot of pressure on the students to perform well academically. But when I've went around all the big schools in Ghana and toured and found out what it is, what services they have, and very few of them had counseling, right? So here we, on one side, we are really pressuring these kids to do well academically, but on the other side, we're not giving them or providing them with any emotional or psychological support. So it's just saying, hey, do well no matter what. So we're not taking into account the fact that a child might have some distress. A lot of my students, their parents are very well to do. They high achievers, doctors and whatnot. Sometimes as a child, seeing that your parents are so, it might be a bit overwhelming for you, like, oh my God, I need to get to where my parents is at. So we have that service there to help these kids, let them understand that, they must follow their own path. We're here to guide them. We're here to help them identify, help find who they are, you know. So it's a major component of the services we offer. There's a special department dedicated to just that, providing those services for students, and not just to the students and the parents, because what you were going to find in education is a lot of times there's going to be a lot of conflict between parents and the student. And we are going to inaugurate our middle school in September. But in next year, when we inaugurate the high school, you know, when you get
Whoa.
it,
Hold on. Sorry. You said inaugurate your middle school.
yeah.
Will it be a part of Pinnacle on the same? I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm cutting you, but that's great news. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Will that be also on the same piece of land as the elementary school?
Yeah, so what's gonna happen is, so the primary and the daycare is on one level. So the building, when you see one side is 3 levels and one side is 2, that's because the land slopes. So there's like an above basement sort of thing.
Okay,
Above
I got it. Yeah.
So we have the preschools, like let's say the daycare, and the primaries occupying, let's say, 1.5 levels, right?
Okay.
And then we're going to put the middle school and the high school on the second floor. So right now there are no classes taking place on the second floor.
Oh, wow.
And PHA, we have about 33 classrooms. So it's we have the space. So why not? And then so and I was back to my point. So when we inaugurate the high school, you know, and high school is when there's going to be a lot of contention between students and parents. So having that service there to sort of mediate some of these issues, it's really going to help not just the learners, but also the parents as well.
I'm excited for the students and their future. That is great. I love that. That is great. So Paul, being the founder of Pinnacle Heights Academy, and just wanted to know, what is your morning mantra, or what is your mantra? What do you live by each day that keeps you going?
I think all of us have experienced failure one time or another in our life. And I think if there's one thing I do, and I know I do well, is taking the failures and fueling myself. So looking back in my life, be like, okay, this part of my life, this didn't go well. Oh, I'm just gonna like use it to just push myself. So that's one thing, not just letting failure get you down, but using it, keeping it in your pocket to say, I'm gonna get back to where I'm gonna use it for a positive cause. Another thing also is that I never wanna be like everybody else. Like everyone must feel that they are special. So I always tell myself, you know what, Pete, you're special. Like you're not the average. You know what I mean? Go for something big. Go for something grand. So when I have that in my psychology, it's easier for me to say, you know what, that goal really doesn't seem too big, right? You know. Another thing is, any problem that I come across is breaking down into segments, like not tackling the whole issue all at once. Like PHA we didn't buy the land and the next day classes began. You know, we broke it down. You know, we were literally, between me and my brother, we were breaking it down into week by week. That this week we need this much money to do this, and that. This subsequent week we need this amount. So coming across issues, breaking them down into pieces that you can sort of attack, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I agree. And just seeing you move from, you post pictures, which I'm going to show to our guests or our listeners today, like the pictures, the groundbreaking pictures, and like building it. Like when you see the before and after, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
You know,
and, you know, it's a feeling that I was telling my friend today, who I'm supporting to help him establish something in Ghana, that this feeling that I have, or this feeling that I experience, like something that I want everyone who I love to experience it, to know that I bought a piece of land, I built something on it, and we opened it, and it doesn't have to be a school, it could be anything. You know, it could just be conceiving a dream and then having it manifest, or coming like sort of bring it into reality. it's something that it's indescribable to know that. I mean, whenever I'm in Ghana and then I go to the school, when I was there in January, and parents are coming and they're asking to meet the owner, and I'm like, wait, that's
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 you.
me,
Yes.
And I would look at the building, I would look at the facilities, and I was like, wow, like this actually happened. It's not. I'm not dreaming about this. I'm not. We're no longer in the planning stage. This is actually here. It's right in front of you. So it's been an incredible journey, and it's so long going, and sometimes I need to like pinch myself to be like, wow, is this really happening?
Yeah.
So
And so when you think about all the things you've been through, the toughest moments in your life, your startup funds, like executing the building, how it's going to look, getting all the material, the resources, and the people.
mhm.
What lessons in all of that was happening, what lessons have you learned about yourself that you would like to share with others?
Okay, I would say I've learned that I'm very resourceful. So you know, we would always hit roadblocks. Okay, funds are depleted. We need money. Where are we gonna find it? And then I gotta find ways whether I gotta work more, go into my savings, go into my GIC, slash what's there, and then bring it to that. So I learned to be very resourceful. One and another thing too, I learned to be patient. A lot of people want things yesterday. And
How long did it take you to build Pinnacle? How many years did it take you?
7 years, 7 years.
That is patience.
Yeah. So, and you gotta have that because even in the day to day, because one day, let's say the electrician is supposed to come into work. Oh, I'll be there at 7. Okay, you get to the site, he's not there. You call him, his phone is off. You don't hear from him for 2 weeks. Obviously, he went to do another job. Now when you get a hold of him, you could like yell, scream, throw a lot of insult at him, or B, speak to him in a calm like manner, let him know what he did, he didn't appreciate it. And what I always found was that whenever I opted for the latter and I was calm with them, they were very contrite, and they would be more than willing to make up for all that lost time. So learning to be patient, learning to not take shortcuts. I mean, at PHA, what what I've done is, you go in our reception area, for example, and you can show those pictures too. I wanted to be very nice and beautiful. Had a chance to buy tiles, which would have cost me, I think, altogether like $7,000. But no, we wanted something that was more beautiful, so we wanted something that ended up costing like 12,000. There's a big art on the wall drawn by a very famous Ghanaian visual artist. We had someone that was gonna do it for 500. Instead, we paid someone 3,000 to do it. And so it's learning that I trying to be economical, but also learn that you want the best and the top notch quality for whatever it is that you're trying to do, and not taking shortcuts. Even with the hiring, I didn't want to just hire just anybody, and I didn't want to just pay them any amount. So you can speak to my consultant. PHA pays the highest rate, one of the highest rates for private school teachers in all of Ghana.
Wow.
So I didn't want to just be there, just quote unquote milking the system, but it's an attempt to also give back by paying people a fair wage for their services.
That's amazing.
I mean, when I started, I think I was 30 at the time when I started construction for PHA. So, I mean, I wanted to get it done quickly, but I knew it's something that it's a long journey. It's something that's going to take a number of years. But the beauty of it is, and that's the thing I want young people to understand about creating something, a product, anything, is that it lasts beyond you. So even in your absence, eventually none of us will live forever, right? So, but even in the event of your demise or my demise, PHA is still going to be there. You know what I mean? My kids are going to inherit PHA. So whatever it is you decide to do, just know that you're not necessarily doing it for you. You're doing it for your children and their children also. So anytime you have a goal and you don't act on it, I see it as a very selfish attitude. And here's why. It's because you are depriving your children from having something that you created. So anytime, if they say you might have a goal like, I want to buy a condo next year, and then next year comes, I don't think I really want to buy that condo. Just know that had you bought that condo, that is something that you could have given to your kids. Let's say if you say I want to open a restaurant. Have you choose to open that restaurant, just know your children are going to be in a much better financial situation than you found yourself in probably in your mid-20s. So you must always sort of take things in that broader context and just realize, I don't want to be selfish. I mean, you'll do anything for your kids, I'm sure.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so, and one of those things, so what you must not do is deprive them of your goals, because your goals are going to have a major impact. I say I could drop dead today. I know that my kids will never have to suffer because there's something there for them which will take care of them for their entire lives. So let's
I
not be
think
selfish.
Yeah, that is true. And I think this ties into my last question which is what advice would you give to millennials about achieving their goals, going after their goals? What last words do you have to say?
I would say start early. I have a school now. What people don't know is that at 23 years old, I think I went to Dubai with I think over $20,000 to go buy things to import to Ghana. I've imported car accessories, tires. I've had let's say a wholesale grocery shop in Ghana.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did all these things, and it builds that character, and it gives you that experience, that human resource, how to deal with people. So, and even if those had failed, I was still young enough to still sort of
Bounce
dust
back
myself and start again.
Yes.
There's this thing with people like, oh, I want to take my time and begin maybe my 30s, 40s. There's a major risk to that, which is you're maybe in your 40s, if you lose whatever amount of money you invested, you might not be able to make it back, right? But I knew that if I started early, even right now, if something happens and I lose PHA, I still have the technical know-how. I still know how to raise the money, and I still know how to build a school. So I would just again, right?
Yes.
So young people to start early, to stick with the process, and like I said earlier, process doesn't always look like progress. Like, you're doing something and you hit a few roadblocks. No, it's all part of the process, and you cannot abandon ship because you run out of capital. You can't abandon ship because you're not getting that support that you want. A lot of time people I want people to support me. No, nobody's going to support you unless you support yourself and you bring something that's worthwhile for them to support. So, I mean, when I started construction PHL, I'll tell my friends, hey, I'm building a school. They're like, okay. Yeah, okay. You're building a school, okay. And nobody really knew until I think it was like September last year. I just posted a picture like, hey, we're gonna open in January. And then all of a sudden people are like, interesting. That's because I was no longer talking about it. No, this is the school. This is and it just kept on building, because then I would post a picture of the school, and then the next week I'll post a picture of it painted. Then people are like, okay. Then I'll post a picture of the lab. Like, okay. And I'll post
that was a big picture. Yes.
It builds up. So, let people have something to show.
Well, thank you so much, Paul Antwi, the founder and president of Pinnacle Heights Academy. I'm so happy you're able to sit down here and give us a little background and your story about how you've come so far. And I am so excited to see more of what you have to do. I would love to see the school one day and all that great stuff.
Come to Ghana, you'll see it for sure.
Oh, my brother, I'm working on it. Every single day I am working on it. I want to go home. I feel like my ancestors are saying, we are depending on you to bring us home. So I know it sounds wild, but it's true, Yeah. So thank you so much. If you want to learn, Oh, you're welcome. If you want to learn more about Paul Antwi, look in the description box below. I have his Instagram, and I'll even have his contact information if you're looking to invest, if you're looking to learn more, if you live in Ghana and you want your children to apply to his school, all the information will be down in the description box. So thank you so much for joining us here at the Roaring 30s YouTube channel. Love, Unno, and take care.
Thank you.